Hello and welcome to Hopeful Moments 1. Today, we will hear about the author's experience during a gay cruise through South America. Today's story will take you through a surprising situation where an entitled couple acted rudely and demanded an early check-in without proper arrangements, but they didn't get what they expected. If you find this story interesting and full of meaningful lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more valuable lessons. The meltdown of the entitled couple equals my luxury upgrade. In 2008, my partner and I decided to join a gay cruise through South America, a journey that wasn't just a trip, but an adventure full of freedom and excitement. Imagine, 3 days in Rio de Janeiro during Carnival, one of the world's most famous festivals, where the streets are alive with colors and lively music, a vibrant and exhilarating atmosphere that you can only truly experience when you're living it. Then, a week of debauchery on the high seas, where everything seemed to flow in absolute freedom and liberation. Finally, the journey ended in Buenos Aires, the beautiful city in Argentina, where we could relax and enjoy life after a week of excitement and unforgettable memories. This trip was truly a perfect combination of fun, freedom, and non-stop thrill. But if I'm honest, although it was a joyous and wonderful journey, there were moments that made me feel like I was facing quite a challenge. Nevertheless, the experiences during this trip are unforgettable moments that my partner and I shared and experienced together. At that time, the concept of a ship full of gay people arriving at major cities in South America wasn't just an event, it was real breaking news and generated a lot of buzz in some places. This was a time when the LGBTQ+ community still faced a lot of prejudice and stigma in society. Although this journey promised to be a wonderful experience, I couldn't help but feel a strange anxiety and tension because we all understood that any wrong move could become an ugly mark, not only for the individual but for the entire LGBTQ+ community. When those ships docked, it wasn't just a trip, it was a symbolic event. All eyes were on us, sometimes not in a welcoming way but in a judgmental one. Although people around us were friendly and open, I couldn't help but feel that their welcoming also came with a sense of caution. They didn't always understand the complexity of us, and sometimes a thoughtless action or a wrong word could destroy what we were building. In that moment, I realized that in this community, each of us carried a great responsibility. It felt like every personal action not only represented ourselves but was a reflection of a larger community, impacting how society perceived us for a long time. This created an immense amount of stress. The pressure wasn't just from maintaining a personal image but from the fear that if anyone in the community acted wrong, no one could predict the consequences. It felt like one wrong step for many of us could leave a permanent stain, not just on the individual but on all of us on that ship. Suddenly, it felt like I was carrying an immense burden that could not be shared or spoken of, and a free life was constantly hindered by the invisible surveillance of society. It was stressful, but it was also a reality we had to accept, even though no one wanted it. The reality was, my partner and I weren't wealthy, nor were we extravagant spenders, but we understood that sometimes life needs moments of indulgence, experiences we would never forget. Although we weren't people with excess wealth, we decided to invest in a few nights at a nice hotel after the cruise. This was something we felt we deserved to do, considering the stressful work days and the hard years that had brought us an opportunity to enjoy a bit of luxury, even if it was temporary. However, this didn't mean we were being wasteful or spending thoughtlessly. We carefully chose and considered the quality and comfort we would have, even though our hotel room, like the cabin on the ship, wasn't ideal for a perfect vacation. The cabin on the ship was cramped and lacked amenities, making us feel like we were stuck in a confined space without privacy. But that was also part of the experience, and we accepted it. It turned out, we weren't the only ones thinking this way. Half of the passengers on the ship made the same decision. When we arrived at the hotel the next morning, the situation became clear. There was a long line snaking out the hotel lobby doors, and we all looked tired, waiting our turn, not to mention a bit annoyed. Waiting in a groggy, tired state, with heads still foggy between sleep and alertness, none of us dared to speak much, only lining up to drop our luggage and wander around until check-in time. Everyone was busy with their luggage, carrying bags or suitcases, while their eyes would drift past each other without much interaction. We were waiting to drop off our heavy bags, hoping we could wander around to kill time until it was time to check in. Everyone shared the same mood, a little confusion, but still polite, trying to keep the situation from escalating. The atmosphere around us was quiet, but there was an unspoken understanding that everyone wanted rest after a long journey, a vacation filled with new and tiring experiences. This incident really reflected the downside of the trips we expect to be relaxing and peaceful. Although excitement and joy were still present, sometimes the reality wasn't as easy as we thought. The long lines of people waiting in fatigue and frustration were an inevitable part of the travel life, a part of the process of seeking relaxation amidst moments of stress and unmet expectations. And then, that couple appeared. When I looked at them, I could clearly sense the self-satisfaction and the feeling they carried with every step they took. A couple who seemed to feel superior to everyone around them, deciding that they were too important to wait like everyone else. I couldn't help but notice how they were dressed, their confident posture, as if they were accustomed to always receiving preferential treatment and special attention wherever they went. And when they entered the hotel, the next thing I heard was their declaration. One of them had some sort of super VIP card, which they explained was the key to getting an early check-in, bypassing all the usual procedures. They didn't even glance at the long line waiting, not caring at all about the other tired, eager people who were also hoping to check in after a long journey. The receptionist, who stood behind the counter, was a calm and patient-looking woman. She had admirable patience, likely a result of years of experience in the field, but I could see that this situation was a real challenge for her. With exceptional politeness, she explained that early check-in depended on room availability, and by 10 a.m., no rooms were ready for check-in yet. Her explanation was clear and reasonable, but it seemed to do little to soothe the anger building in the couple. Perhaps they were so used to being prioritized that they couldn't accept a rejection. The couple immediately became irritated, their voices rising, their patience apparently worn thin. They began to question the receptionist's understanding, even doubting her ability to do her job. The receptionist, with all the calm she could muster, was not flustered. But I could see the weariness in her eyes, as if she had grown accustomed to such situations. She continued to explain patiently, but the couple refused to listen. This situation was a clear example of the lack of respect and sense of entitlement from those who consider themselves special. To them, rules could only apply to those inferior to them, while they, with their VIP card, were above the usual regulations. Their arrogance became evident through their words and gestures. They not only wanted to be prioritized, but seemed to want to deny the rights of those around them. But when we turn back to this couple, it's hard not to be surprised by their attitude. They were like a couple so accustomed to favoritism, to always being above others, and now, when their reasonable request was denied, they seemed unable to bear it. Their attitude changed immediately, and the loss of control became more obvious than ever. The sense of entitlement was the only thing left for them, and they weren't shy about showing it. The constant criticism, the questioning of the receptionist's intelligence began to echo. Their voices grew louder, their tone no longer patient but hostile, as if they were standing at the pinnacle of power and being denied was simply unacceptable. What was most striking was how they attacked the receptionist, not just with arrogant comments about how she was doing her job, but with ridicule about her English ability. Although the receptionist spoke perfect English with a slight accent because she was a local from Buenos Aires, for this couple, everything had to be perfect. The slightest accent became something they criticized and mocked. This was a clear display of disrespect, as they were not only denying their own rights but also belittling her just because of factors she had no control over, like her accent. You may have realized that this is a Karen situation, a term used to refer to customers with unreasonable demands and a sense of entitlement. However, this couple wasn't just an ordinary Karen, they were the gay version, a premium type, with their own special style. Their attitude went beyond just feeling entitled, it also reflected a lack of empathy and understanding for the people serving them. They believed the rules didn't apply to them, because they were VIP customers and deserved special treatment, regardless of the hotel's reasonable and just policies. The tension escalated to the point that the hotel security had to intervene. This not only reflected the couple's attitude but also signaled that they had crossed the line in their behavior. By this point, the situation was no longer a simple exchange between customer and staff but had become a confrontation between power and responsibility, between unreasonable demands and the patience of those serving them. The intervention of security was not only to maintain order but also to remind them that no one, no matter how VIP or prominent, can behave without respecting basic principles of decorum and politeness in society. When it was our turn, a heavy feeling suddenly took over my mind. I didn't just feel like I needed to be served well, I also felt a deep sense of responsibility to redeem the reputation of our community, a gay community that, despite having its rights violated, couldn't leave a bad impression on others. In the face of the rude and disrespectful behavior of the couple, I felt like my responsibility wasn't just to check in but also to clarify the injustice we had witnessed. I wanted, with my small action, to show the receptionist that not all of us were like that not everyone in our community brought trouble or behaved badly. I felt the need to speak up, to do something to ease the tension from earlier. I approached the reception desk and proactively apologized to the receptionist. I told her that no one deserved to be treated like that the cruel words and rudeness she had to endure were unacceptable. I wanted her to know that not all of us carried disrespect, and I hoped she wouldn't let their lack of respect affect her view of us. I gently reminded her that we, the regular customers, greatly appreciated the professionalism she showed. These words were not just to ease the atmosphere but also a way for me to express my respect for her, a staff member who had faced a difficult situation without losing her composure or getting angry. After saying those words, we had a pleasant conversation about travel, about the cruise I had just experienced. It was a way to build a connection with her, to lighten the mood and ensure she didn't feel isolated by the awkwardness caused by the couple. When she began processing our check-in, I thought this was just a temporary step, a part of the process, as I had predicted. I thought that when it was finally time to check in, everything would return to normal, and we would continue our holiday smoothly. However, something unexpected happened when she smiled at me and then handed us 2 keys, not for a regular room, but for a suite. This wasn't just any room, it was a spacious suite with a breathtaking view and a rooftop pool, just steps away from our room. I felt like I had just received a gift I could never have anticipated. "Have a wonderful stay," she said with a friendly smile, her eyes sparkling as if she had seen right through the whole situation. And of course, I had no choice but to thank her, feeling immensely grateful and relieved. With a gentle and friendly smile, the receptionist handed us 2 keys. Not for a regular hotel room, but for a suite room, and not just any suite, but a massive one, almost making us question our eyes. This room was not only spacious but also offered a breathtaking view, looking directly over the vibrant Buenos Aires city with its bustling streets and twinkling lights. What made it even better was the access to a rooftop pool, right next to our room, where we could relax, enjoy the panoramic view of the city under the sun, or soak in the cool water in the evening. I clearly remember at that moment, a wave of happiness overwhelmed me, not only because of the luck of receiving such a dream room but also because of the magical change brought by the receptionist. She not only responded to my polite gesture with thoughtful service but also made me feel that the respect I had shown her was truly valued. "Have a great vacation," she said with a playful wink, making the atmosphere even more relaxed and enjoyable. That wink was like a signal, as if she were sharing our joy, while also acknowledging the injustice we had witnessed earlier and deciding to close the story in the most beautiful way possible. And truly, we had an amazing vacation. The trip became a beautiful memory, not only because of the stunning sights of Buenos Aires but also because of the sense of triumph when courtesy and refinement were justly rewarded. But even so, I couldn't help but thank that couple who felt entitled to priority, those who created a tense and uncomfortable moment for all of us. Gracias, ladies and gentlemen, for your actions, which indirectly led to a positive change that we did not expect. It was your noise and sense of entitlement that made me realize that sometimes, a good deed can lead to an outcome beyond expectations. And that fantastic view from the suite, with the pool and beautiful scenery, was truly a well-deserved reward for our small efforts. To conclude the story, it is clear that politeness and respect will always be rewarded in due time, even in the most difficult situations. Negative actions, like the arrogance and entitlement displayed by that couple, not only create tension but also lead to their own disappointment. Meanwhile, a small but refined gesture by the main character created an entirely different outcome, a surprising and well-deserved reward. The lesson from this story is that, no matter the circumstances, we should never lose our patience, politeness, or respect for others. When faced with injustice or negative attitudes, instead of responding with anger or criticism, staying calm and treating others with respect can lead to unexpected positive outcomes. Sometimes, our patience and integrity open up wonderful opportunities we could never have imagined and make life more beautiful. Always maintain your dignity and respect, even in tense situations and when faced with unfair attitudes from others. Although the couple exhibited arrogance and disrespect, the protagonist chose to remain patient, respectful, and act appropriately. The advice is that, even when you feel pushed to your limits, instead of responding with anger or disrespect, stay calm and set an example for positive values. This not only helps you maintain your personal reputation but also helps you build positive connections with those around you. As the story demonstrates, sometimes patience and the right actions can lead to unexpected and deserving results, and these values will help you grow sustainably in any situation.